Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor, and on this channel, I like to believe that we have one of the most cozy, vibey, autumnal corners of the internet. So if you like the way that I read, you like my style, and you like it here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can become a member of the Pumpkin Patch and get new videos in your inbox every single week. It's free, and we're putting out at this point about 2 pick a cards a week, plus a little throwback moment. So lots of new content for the month of June. But today's reading, my beautiful pumpkins, we are doing a 3 months from now prediction. So basically, where is your life going to be 3 months from now? So pile, I didn't put any significators on any of these because I actually wanted to roll the astro dice with you and let that be a significator. Now, please know that me using these, it doesn't mean that like your sign is going to come up. I'm just going to give you the general themes of the die or the dice rather, and let you decide. You can also check the timestamps, see if your lucky number is present in them or the emoji, or maybe you're just going to use your intuition and decide which of these 3 cards, pile 1, 2, and 3, that you are feeling the most drawn to. So let's see, for pile number 1, we have actually I think that's the 9th house. We have the North Node and we have Capricorn. So the 9th house is the house of Sagittarius. It rules logic, higher mind. The North Node is like your true north, and then Capricorn as the sign. So again, that doesn't mean that that's your sign that is present, but maybe that just means something specific to you, any of those things. Pile number 2, you have Mercury, the 11th house of Aquarius, and it also is the house of friendship. And you also got the astrological sign of Capricorn. And pile number 3, for you, we have the 7th house of partnerships, which is also the house of Libra. We have Mars and Capricorn again. Oh my gosh, Capricorn on every single pile. So like I said, it doesn't mean that that's your astrological sign. Those are just some ways that maybe one of those things spoke to you. But I'm going to go ahead and turn myself down, turn the meditation music up, and give you some time with the cards to decide which one you want to choose. Please know that you can never choose wrong, and sometimes you might feel drawn to more than one pile. Some people will listen to the entire video and decide at the end which pile resonated the most. You're not going to choose wrong here. Just trust yourself, trust your intuition, and know that you can't choose wrong. All right, so pile number 1, at the heart of your reading, you have the Death card. And this to me says that 3 months from now, you are going to be going through an incredible transformation, because death inherently is the great transformer. And 3 months from now, this is a timeless reading, but 3 months from now, let's see, if you're watching it when it's new, like I said, timeless, but just for those of you that are here right in the beginning, I always like to look at the astrology 3 months ahead from now. So we're in Gemini season now in June, September. We will be not quite in Scorpio season, but it will be coming relatively shortly after. And Scorpio is the ruler of the house of like death, occult, and transformation. So this could have something to do with the eclipse coming up in Scorpio this year it's like late October, early November. But I also feel that for you, you are going through a spiritual awakening. And I don't say that lightly. I don't like to throw that word or that phrase around on my channel because I know how nuanced it can become. But to me, going through something like this, it's like the death of the old self. And I say it because you have this paired with the Judgment card. And I'm kind of looking at this like a progression for you in the next 3 months. So here we have King of Wands, Three of Coins, Death, Judgment, Knight of Wands. So we start out in this like King of Wands energy, and I want you to pay attention to the symbolism of this King of Wands because we have this peacock card. Peacocks are very much about showing off. They show off their feathers. They are known throughout mysticism and metaphor and symbolism as kind of showing off. And I feel like this might even be something that you have maybe previously been rooted in. When we talk about spiritual awakenings, I feel like we can talk about this a myriad of different ways, but the simplest way I can give it to you is that we can kind of talk about like what would be society or quote unquote the matrix, right? We are maybe desiring things that aren't really the core of what we need right now. Meaning maybe it's in luxury handbags, maybe it's in cars, a mansion. We want things to impress others. Don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with luxury. I am a Taurus sun. I am the first person that's going to be like, you get that bag if that's what you desire. I'm never going to tell you that wanting luxury or things or material items is wrong. However, a lot of today's mainstream, it's being pumped in that we need these things to be valuable people. And what you're going through, pile number one, is basically like you're kind of gaining this. And this might be in 3 months what starts to happen is you start to gain the intentions that you're putting out there. You start to gain your manifestations. And some of them are going to be incredible and it's going to feel good. But ultimately, for some of you, what is going to happen is you're actually going to start to shed the old self because some of the things that you are asking for, it's not going to be until you receive them that you understand they aren't really what you are wanting. Because I'm saying this because I've looked ahead on the cards a tiny bit, which usually I don't do, but for some reason with your pile, Spirit told me I needed to look at them and understand the full picture before I started speaking, which I don't know that I've ever done that before, but Spirit was like, you need to really see the full picture. And I'm saying this because you also have this card, which we're not done talking about these, but you have the card Eros. And Eros is all about the inner desire. Yes, this card is all about like sensuality and sexuality, but the purpose of it in this reading in particular is all about the deep root of your desire and getting to the bottom of it. Because for example, I will share an experience with you on my own life because I think a lot of this can be put under the context of shame, and I'm never here to shame people. I'm never here to make people feel shame. If anything, I want to liberate you from your shame. So I'll give you an experience from my own life. I used to have such a hard relationship with money for like all of my 20s. We've talked about this before on my channel, where I lived below the poverty line. I didn't always know where my next meal was coming from. I lost a home in like my 20s, not like a home that I bought, but like was kicked out of like a rental property. There was just a lot that happened. Almost had my car repoed. I had my phone shut off. I've had my power shut off. Like I have gone through it financially. But in my mind, I needed to make something of myself. I needed to get a nicer car. I needed to move to a luxury apartment. I needed, all of these things that I felt like I was never able to achieve. And then in swings my Saturn return in the second house of personal finance. I start to actually make money that I don't have to like drown anymore, basically. And don't get me wrong, it's great to be able to afford health insurance and psychiatric care. And it's great to be able to afford to just live. And I'm never going to be the person that's going to tell you that that's not great. Money does buy happiness to an extent. However, it took me moving across state lines, buying an SUV, changing my entire wardrobe. It took me doing all of this stuff to realize that a lot of the things that I desired were to prove this idea that was implanted in my head in my early adolescence, that my own mother told me that her children, which I'm one of them, would never amount to anything. That we would all never own any assets. We would never be anything. We would be nobodies. And this stuck with me from really, really early on. And I thought like, oh, if I do all these things, I'll finally be worthy of praise. I'll finally be worthy of love. Now, this was all going on unconsciously. And after doing all of this, it hit me like a ton of bricks that I was not any more worthy. I didn't receive any paternal love that I thought I was going to be receiving. It didn't shift the relationship that I had with my parent. Nothing changed. And that was the moment where it was like a death of the self. It was a death of the desires that I thought were so important to me that actually I had to experience that in order to understand. I don't think anybody could have told me about it and I could have figured it out beforehand. But that's what I mean when this is coming up. This to me reeks of that. It reeks of this like, I need to show off. I need to be this person. I need to gain all of this stuff. And like, even look at this imagery of the Three of Coins. This person's like vibing with all their money, but they have like a devil on their back, basically. And again, money is not evil. Possessions are not evil. It's thinking that we're going to meet our internal needs, our intrinsic value with extrinsic things. And this is what is dying off for you. You're going to have this epiphany moment and you're actually going to set yourself free from these limits because you've been harboring so much thinking that you are not worthy or good enough. And then judgment swoops in here after this death of the self, death of the ego, death of desire. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be free of desire forever. Desire is a beautiful thing that helps us to take inspired action in our life. That's why we have it, is it helps us to use our free will to create. And you're still going to have that, but your desires are going to dramatically shift in 3 months. The things that you are wanting right now are going to dramatically change in 3 months' time because you're going to uncover more hidden truth about yourself that you did not see coming. And the Knight of Wands, I kind of like this because I feel like going through this experience is going to be very unsettling. But we start in the King of Wands, which is a lot more serious energy, right? Still playful, but a lot more serious. And you end this transition on a Knight of Wands, which is significantly more playful energy. It's more creative. It's more like, look, it's this beautiful figure, literally like riding a goat and like charging into the distance. It's got wings, a lot more creative, imaginative, playful. And I feel like that's what you're going to be getting back. Your inner child is going to be thriving at the end of this transition. Now, we also have for you the Pilgrim card. And this card is all about basically having to uproot yourself and decide a new course of your life. And that's the reason I gave you that example from my own personal like repertoire, even though it's kind of like embarrassing to share it, because I feel that so many of you possibly are doing things because you feel like it's going to grant you something from somebody else, grant you an ability to be seen different, to be held different, to be thought about different, when in reality, the journey that you're actually going on is learning how to please your damn self. And this is way more about bringing you back to yourself, back to your own essence, back to your own spirit, getting in touch with what you actually really desire and learning how to fulfill it yourself. and you are the pilgrim because nobody that has come before you has done this. Literally, your ancestors have pulled up for this reading, which does not happen very often. I usually get a lot of like ethereal beings that sometimes it's ancestors, but I am seeing dedicated ancestors that are like, yo, especially those of you that have had your ancestors trying to get in contact with you. They are showing you that you are going down a path that none of them had the opportunity to go down. And it's for you. You were excited to come down and walk this path. Then we have for you Aquarius, collaborate. We have the 11th house of community, which if you didn't know, the 11th house is the house of Aquarius. And we have Libra, balance. So lots of air energy here. Also look, number 11. I feel like for some of you, 11 might be your lucky number, or 7. We also have a 49, which is a 4 technically when it like converts down. A 4 plus 9, 49, 4 plus 9 is 4 plus 9 is 13, and then that converts 3 plus 1 is a 4. And with Aquarius, collaborates. I feel like this is a reminder that you're not going to be doing this alone. I feel like especially with Judgment too, Judgment is not a solitary card. It is meant to breed community. You are meant to be a thought leader for a community of shaping and changing how things run. And this is literally like other souls, other people watering you and you watering them. And with the 11th house community, this is also you building up a community. Some of you might be creators in the online world. Maybe you're an influencer of some kind, or you create something. Your career path is about to like dramatically change. In like, if you have been rooted in these things, it is about to dramatically change for you to be more community based. I believe a lot of the souls that are currently like stepping up into their power right now, a lot of them are based in this like community way of thinking. A lot of people also have like are going through their Saturn return right now, and Saturn in Aquarius is the community thinker, is the humanitarian. So a lot of us came at this time to help with the evolution of that. Now granted, there are plenty of you that have Saturn in Pisces, or Saturn in Aries, or Saturn in Taurus, or even Saturn in Capricorn as well. I feel like that's like, there might be some of you that are a little bit off that as well, but for the most part, I feel like that's the age bracket that's here on my channel, is those of you in those Saturn placements. But I do feel like you came here with that mission to help. And this is where it's finally going to align. If you've been asking for purpose, in 3 months' time, you are going to uncover that. And with Libra balance, you're getting into some kind of a partnership as well. For some of you, this is going to be a romantic partnership in 3 months. For some of you, this is going to be some kind of contractual business partnership, because Libra rules contracts and partnerships. And the fact that it's coming up with all this other air energy, Aquarius is also an air sign. I know, contrary to popular belief, Aquarius is not a water sign. It is the water bearer, but it is an air sign. Then we also have for you Between Worlds and Breathe. So this is going to be a lengthy process, pile number 1. You're being asked to rest in stillness throughout this journey, because it's going to take you for a ride. I say that because Between Worlds, it's like you are stepping into this new way of being that feels really beautiful, feels very spiritual, feels very good to your soul, but it's going to be hard to relinquish where you've come from, because there's a lot of programming that you have been given that doesn't really align with the person you're becoming. And it's okay to give yourself time to work through this, because it's not going to happen overnight. And with the Breathe card, this is literally Spirit telling you to pause, take a breath, take stillness. Don't feel like you need to rush this process, because it's going to take some time. And then we also have for you the card of a Wisdom. So also with another 7. 7s might be a lucky number for you too. But with the card of Wisdom, it says, on a Wednesday with a waxing moon, let wisdom come and be renewed. So again, as you're going through this experience, you are gaining so much wisdom. You are literally coming into your own. You are creating something for yourself that feels good. I really feel that many of you have felt very lost, and you've been asking, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? And this is when it finally starts to make sense. You finally master your genius. And I would always encourage, if any of you are confused about your purpose, look, if you are into astrology at all. I might do something in the future with this, like talk about it either in a course or maybe just here on YouTube, where I talk about the North and South nodes, because you can look basically what is between your North and South node. How can you bridge the gap? For example, my North and South node, my North node is in Capricorn, my South node is in Cancer. So most likely in a past life, I was probably a parent of some kind or really took care of the family. And now I don't really do any of that. I'm pretty detached from most of my family. We still talk, but I'm not like, I have to do everything for my family. And that was a lot for me to overcome. And I also decided to go and like build my own empire in my own way. But I still have this very like nurturing energy about me from that Cancer South node. And I've used it to create an online family, to innovate and create a nurturing space for all to exist. So that's just like one example. But if you can find that middle point, you can find your own genius, and that will give you some clues to your purpose. Again, I should probably make a whole video on that because I'm sure y'all are going to have some questions, but that's my take on that. I don't know why it's coming up. Some of y'all might just be into astrology and you just need to be pointed in that direction. Then we have for you organization. So it's so interesting to me that you got 2 Aquarius cards, right? That are all about collaboration, community, humanitarianism. And then you literally get organization, which says purpose, planning, efficiency now come to me so easily. So this could actually be organizing your life, getting it together. But I also see it as possibly creating some type of an organization where you are partnering up with somebody else, you're creating community, and you're collaborating on something that you believe in that is going to improve the quality of your community. And this is something that is directly important to your purpose, is to create this. So if you, like I said, if you've been lost, you're about to get found real quick. And then lastly, we have the card of energy. It says, all right, inside my fire divine, energy fill me, make me shine. So with number 13, I know a lot of people have stigma around number 13, but it's actually the witch's lucky number, which is funny because I was thinking about, why was I thinking about witchcraft when I picked up on your reading? I specifically thought about witchcraft at one point, but I didn't say it, and I wish that I had. I think it was something to do with like this pilgrim card in particular. I like started to think about like getting into your own spiritual path and doing something different. But in any case, some of y'all might just be witches, or maybe you need to like look more into that for yourself. But with this energy card, this is you finding your energy again. If you feel like your energy has just been drained, depleted, pulling back, in 3 months, your energy is coming back to you. You are exuding a much higher frequency. And this time period right now is really just filled with release so you can get to this point. So honestly, I think this is going to be a really interesting journey for you in 3 months' time. I see a lot of really promising things. And I think that if anything, just be open to discover. If you can just remain open-minded to whatever comes your way, that is going to be like the key to navigating this landscape, because I think it's going to be very new. And if you're somebody that fears change, this is the time period where you got to get real comfortable with it. That is the one thing, I always say this, that is the one thing in life that is a constant besides death, is that everything is always changing. There is not a thing that does not change. And I know a lot of us, I mean, I'm a Taurus, I get it. We don't like change. That is the one consistent, is that everything always changes. And the more on board you can get with your thoughts changing, your purpose possibly taking a new route, finding your purpose in a way that you didn't think you were going to, and gaining new wisdom and clarity in it, genuinely, I think you're going to have a much easier time navigating this. And dare I say, it might even be a little fun. So that is what I have for you, pile number 1, on what to expect in 3 months' time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, if you are unaware, I do have my Patreon link down below. It literally makes all of my content possible. So if you would like to join me over there, I would certainly appreciate having you. We have a beautiful little community where every week you get weekly energy updates. You get a card of the month. You get pick a cards that you can't get here. They're only available on the Patreon. We do community nights. We built Legos one night together and just talked about, like, I think we were talking about like edibles and stuff, just like people's experiences. We get up to some nonsense over there. But yeah, we have really close-knit community nights. We have a book club that runs every month on the Patreon. I love my Patreon community. I don't know what I would do without y'all. Same with y'all here too, but if you want to support me in that way, I would really appreciate it. So link for that is going to be down below. If you'd like to book a reading with me, I just put up a restock. You can only book at KloeTaylor.com. I will never personally solicit you for a reading. So if you see anybody on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok claiming to be me, asking you for a reading, saying they got a premonition that they need to read for you, it's not me. It's a scammer account. There's a lot of them going out and around for spiritual accounts right now. So just know I will never do that. You can only book through my website, KloeTaylor.com. If you would like to tip me for this reading because it helped you out, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. No expectation, but always appreciated. I also have my wish list down there for those of you that ask for it. And my podcast, oh my goodness, how could I almost forget to talk about that? Every Tuesday, I have a podcast that goes live on every single one of your favorite podcast platforms. It is called Divine Authenticity. I talk about spirituality, psychology, my Saturn return, mental health. Like, we talk about it all over there. So come and listen to the podcast. Literally, episodes go up every Tuesday morning, just in time for your early morning commute. And we have such a good time. So check it out. Links down below. It's available everywhere. And I am at Kloee Taylor across all social media platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at Kloee Taylor if you would like to follow me. And please do not forget, my beautiful pumpkin, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye. All right, pile number 2. So for your reading, the overall theme that I am getting is striking when the iron is hot is something that's definitely coming up. But I feel that in 3 months' time, you are going to be feeling overwhelmed by the quote unquote balance that you've been trying to strike with yourself. And I just want to offer some food for thought to y'all, because I actually think to some degree balance is a little bit of a myth, where we're constantly as humans trying to strike balance between work and family and friends and play and rest. Like, how are you supposed to do your yoga, have a morning intentional practice, be in a relationship if you choose to be in one, raise your kids, have your career, have your side hustle, be a good sibling, daughter, granddaughter, grandson, grandperson, grandchild rather. How are you, grandperson, that was funny. How are you supposed to fill all of these roles and still allow yourself to have time for yourself? I would argue that most of the time, one area of your life is usually shining, and there are a few that aren't shining in the way that you would like them to. And that is the constant push and pull of the human experience. And so I do feel that balance sometimes feels like that. Like, I feel like this 2 of coins right in the middle of your reading, the center of your reading for in 3 months' time, this person is carrying a child, an animal. They look like they're struggling a little bit to do the balancing act. And I feel like that's kind of where you're at. You're getting to this place where you're feeling a little bit fed up with trying to balance it all. And this is like a fall on your knees kind of moment. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to believe in God, or, maybe you do, but it's whatever you you believe in. So if this is higher self, Mother Earth, God, the goddess, any thread of spirituality, I feel like you are having a fall to your knees and look to the stars above moment. And these can be huge. Like, this is when you kind of hit that boiling point of, I cannot carry on in the way that I've been carrying on anymore. Please help. Whatever it is that's out there, whatever it is that you believe, please help. You're asking for divine intervention because it feels like too much. And I think you're going to be very surprised in 3 months' time that at first, the shift that you're going to feel, number one, for some of you, this is striking while the iron's hot, doing something because you have an incredible idea and you need to act on it. Sometimes the tower can be representational of that, of literally the lightning hitting you and being like, oh shoot, I need to do this thing. But the tower is also representational of things falling out of your life. And the thing that I feel like isn't talked about enough, because often we look at the tower and we think, oh no, this is going to be like the worst thing ever. My whole life is falling apart. But oftentimes it is the things that are not good for you or helpful to you, or people that do not support you, that kind of thing. They are dramatically removed from your life. And often it's to make space and room for the things that feel better. So when this tower shows up, I want you to look at this moment as a true blessing that is coming. Don't look at it like it's something that's meant to be feared. The only thing that you have to fear is if you have any unwillingness to change, because that's what the tower promises. And you haven't been filling up your own well. And that's what's actually coming in 3 months' time, is you are going to have this moment where it feels like you've lost something or someone significant. But ultimately, you're going to realize very quickly that without this in your life, be it a soul-sucking career, a soul-sucking person, there's something in your life that is draining you of your essence. And Spirit is saying that the moment that that gets taken out of your life, at first it's going to feel scary because you're used to it. But it's going to give you the opportunity to start filling yourself back up with the things that you do desire and not feeling like you're just not doing life correctly. And the Magician is here. I want to remind you, before we even move farther, that you have the Tower, the Star, and the Magician. These are all considered major arcana cards in the tarot. Major arcana cards are significant. They're not just the cards that are around to explain situations. They are significant, pivotal shifts. So the Magician is here to remind you that this is going to bring you that sense of feeling empowered. Instead of wishing for the stars above, this is you literally commanding the energy in your space. Look at how this character goes from praying to the heavens, basically, to having the power of the cosmos right in her fingertips. I feel like literally that is the transition that you're going to be making in 3 months' time. And I don't think it's going to come without some sense of loss or removal. But I don't want you to sit and be afraid of this moment, because ultimately it's going to lead to better things for you. And just remember that if there's something that feels like, oh my gosh, how am I going to carry forward without this? Remember what I said. Come back to this reading in 3 months' time and be like, oh yeah, this is just making room for more of myself. And a few other things I want to say before we get into more cards is the Star can depict sometimes fame. So if you've been like wanting to grow a following, wanting to grow a business, a side hustle, wanting to maybe even advance in your career or advance on some kind of goal in your life, the Star can come as fame or recognition or a move in that direction. The Magician also can come with you getting wish fulfillment, as well as the Star, actually. These can pair up really nicely for long-term wish fulfillment and you creating that thing. Is there anything else I want to say about these before we continue to move on? I don't think so. So we also have for you the King and the Hunter. This is interesting. Do you see how these cards are very similar? The King has this beautiful red, orange, yellow, right? And then the Hunter is kind of casting that same color pattern, which red, orange, and yellow in the chakra system represent the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, which are your three lower chakras. So the root is going to be your survival instinct, your primal instinct, your most animalistic self. The sacral chakra is going to be more about your creative center. The solar plexus chakra is your own personal power. So I feel like these three chakras, maybe they've been having some problems. And this is where in 3 months' time, you're going to be feeling more centered and grounded in your ability to move through the world with more of a say in your life, because I feel like you've kind of just been going through the motions. Now, the king also is here to remind us that sometimes this puts us in a position of leadership, because the king, frankly, is in a position of leadership and resides over a kingdom. But I also feel like with this card, you have to remember to act in good faith, meaning you don't want to have all of the riches from the kingdom just for having them and then not taking care of your people. This is all metaphorical, of course, not taking care of your people. And so I feel like this is almost a call to remind yourself why you desire more. There's nothing wrong with desiring more for yourself, and I'm going to be the first person to tell you that. But remind yourself why you are desiring more. Is it to be in a position of leadership and power just for the sake of leadership and power? Or is it because you actually desire to enact and create real change in the world or help people in some way? Is it tied to something that has a greater cause, basically? Because I do feel like part of human nature in general, don't get me wrong, I think there's nothing wrong with simply existing. And I think that we have really gotten away from that as a human species. But there is this innate desire in all of us somewhere to affect change or to want to create something different for the world. And it doesn't always mean that that's going to be your career or your hustle, but this is why we have so many different opinions on the face of the planet. This is why we have that polarity, is because to every argument, there is another side to that argument. And we all kind of fall somewhere on that. Now, there might be some of us that are more like middle of the line. We kind of see both aspects, but usually there are some things that we would like to see done differently in the world. And we fall more to one side on certain things. And I'm bringing all of this up because with the king, this is a reminder of, what do you value? What do you want to reside over in your life? It doesn't mean even that you have to be a leader. Now, for some of you, this might actually be becoming a leader of some kind of community, but especially when paired with the star and the magician. But for some of you, this is just asking over your life. Like if you looked at your own body like a kingdom and you are the person that resides over that kingdom, how would you want every element, every cell of your body to be treated? How would you desire for that place to be run? I would actually encourage y'all to do that as an exercise. Like, get out a sheet of paper and imagine your body as its own ecosystem, as its own kingdom. And how would you desire for every cell to be treated if it was represented by a person that was doing something functional to the entire kingdom? Like if you had like a woodworker, if you had an electrician, putting that electricity through your heart, if you had somebody like purifying water, if you like, imagine those as different parts of your own body. And how would you want that kingdom to be treated? How can you rise up as that king that resides over it all and makes those decisions? I don't know why that is coming in so strong. That was like a direct vision I just received. That was crazy. That doesn't happen very often in readings. I feel like a lot of my stuff comes through like I'm clairaudient, so a lot of the stuff that I divine comes in like the form of audio or even like thoughts, but that was like a very clear vision, and your cards just fell on the floor over here, your other cards, as I was talking about it. Sorry about that. I feel like Spirit's trying to tell me to move on by knocking the cards out. But I do also want to focus a little bit on this Hunter card. So the Hunter, number one, some of y'all, one of your like signs from the universe is just horses. So that's why this card is coming out. Spirit is saying that some of y'all like horses just mean a lot to you. And this is like a reminder that this is your reading. Same with like dragons. Some of y'all might just also be like really into like dragons. Because we have this dragon right here, I'm noticing. But I feel like this is really a call to get into the nitty-gritty detail. Because if you think about the hunter's mind, the hunter doesn't just see something moving and shoot an arrow, right? Something moving in the forest and shoot an arrow and just try to stab at every little thing. The hunter is precise. The hunter pays attention to detail. What are there tracks in the soil? Are there tracks? Is there a smell? Is there movement in the leaves? Is there anything that could tip the hunter off as to something being there, right? And it's about being precise. So I feel like this is also a call to let yourself be precise in the way, like in the next 3 months, basically, you need to be precise about the decisions that you're making for yourself. Like, it's not just, oh, I would like this to be different. I would like to treat myself this way. This is a good idea. It's being very precise down to the nitty-gritty detail of the change that you would like to see within yourself and possibly even in the world. And because you are doing that and maybe trying out that exercise that I mentioned, this is where you're going to start to fill yourself back up, is by being more precise instead of just letting things exist in your mind where they are these grand ideas. And again, there's nothing wrong with grand ideas, but I think like we can literally should and could ourselves into a corner. Oh, I should have done that, or I should do that, or it would be nice to have that, or it'd be nice to do that. You can should yourself into a corner. And it's really important to not only just be precise about the actions you want to take and get very specific, but to move towards them. So then we also have for you transits, climate, we have Uranus change. That's funny. You literally got like climate change in your reading because this says climate and then change, and you got alliance with the conjunction. So you might even find that you're going through a significant transit in your birth chart right now. I'm hearing that some of you might have Saturn in Pisces, which we don't have Saturn in Pisces yet, but it's coming. March 8th, mark your calendars in tropical astrology. If you have Saturn natally in Pisces, I believe you would have been born between 1995 and 1998, somewhere in that range. I don't know the specific years, but just check your chart. You can look it up on astro-seek.com. You punch your information in, you can see where Saturn natally is for you. Now, granted, that's not going to be every single person, but you also might have... I don't know why Pisces is coming out so strong right now, but maybe you just have dominant Pisces energy in your chart, or Uranus in Pisces. I don't even know if that's a possibility because Uranus moves so slow, but there's something about like a Piscean transit. It also could be that you're just going through your 12th house in 3 months. Like, maybe you're going through a 12th house transit, which would be the sign of Pisces. And 3 months from now, but this is timeless, but from right now, 3 months from now would be September. So you would have to be a Libra rising in order to experience your 12th house transit in 3 months. So some of y'all also could be Libra risings, but maybe you also just feel really passionately about climate change, and that's like something that you really desire to help create change in. Again, that's not for everybody, but I'm trying to really listen to spirit right now. Also fives. Do you see this? 51 and 55. Fives might just be a number that is also being shown to you a lot to guide you along this path and this transition that you're in. I feel like in 3 months, you are going to be going through somewhat of a chaotic time. And again, remember that this is to create more space for yourself. This has more to do with helping you than hurting you. And I say that because we have transits or like transform transit, right? Uranus is usually the very chaotic planet that comes through and just shakes shit up. So I feel like with transits and Uranus, there's maybe you have Uranus like squaring something in your chart as well during this time period, but this is about, there is like a little bit of chaos coming in, especially paired with the Tower. And remember that it's not all going to be that way. You're going to find alliances along the way. You're going to have also supporting transits that help you through this. And you also might just be like meeting new people at this time. I'm hearing like forming an alliance with someone, forming an alliance with another person to enact real change, either in the environment, in the world, or in your personal lives. This also, for some of you, you're going to like have a buddy that you're going to do things with, like either maybe some creative accountability. Maybe you're going to take a nutrition course together. I'm hearing for some of you. There's definitely something about like an accountability buddy that's going to work really well with you and help you to kind of guide yourself forward. You're going to come across people that are going to help you make real change in your life and possibly in your community or in the world. Like if that's granted, I understand that I'm getting messages for some people that really do want to like enact environmental change. And that's something that's coming through. And I know that not everybody wants to like be out there on the front line doing environmental change stuff. I'm just giving to you what spirit is giving to me. Now, we also have time for a nap. So this literally is like when you're going through it, if like something feels intense, there is very little that a nap and a fixed candle can't fix, okay? So this is literally spirit saying, if you feel stressed or tired, take a nap. If you feel tired, take a nap. Like those 20 minutes can really change your entire experience of the rest of your day. And we also have chop wood, which is really funny because you literally got take a nap, but also like get to work at the same time. So this is a reminder that in 3 months' time, take a nap if you're tired, but also know when it's time to get to work. I'm hearing that song, know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run, you better count your money. Do y'all know that song? I think it's Kenny Loggins, Kenny Chesney. I don't know, one of them Kennys, I think. Don't quote me on that. One of them Kennys, I think, sings that song, and it's all about like gambling, but that's something that they say in the song is like, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. And I feel like that's also something that your intuition is also getting upgraded to the point that you're going to just know shit before it happens. So you're going to know what to do. Like, I need to sleep a little bit more because my energy is going to be drained tomorrow and I already know. Or, this burst, I feel a burst of energy coming in and it doesn't really matter what time of day it is. I'm going to go out and do the thing that I feel energetically called to. You're going to be living in like a much more flow-based state and not so focused on balancing all these areas of your life too. So we also have for you psychic protection with number 40 around me. Oh, you know what I just noticed? We have 24 and 42. That's interesting. Anyway, sorry. Psychic protection around me now, a shield of gold, protect me strong and bold. So spirit is reminding you that you are protected at this time. Like anybody that tries to cross you or enact this like tower moment or create more drama, you are so protected right now. In 3 months' time, and now I'm hearing when you're listening to this. We also have imagination. Imagine now sets me free. Divine ones, I send my thanks to thee. So Spirit is also reminding you to imagine the ease that you're looking to create. Because I think that's what this is really about, is you're wanting more peace and ease in your life, and it feels like it's hard to obtain. But this, in 3 months' time, is when you're going to start getting a change in that. More ease is going to feel more attainable. Oh my gosh, and look at this. We have good cheer. With kind heart and humor free, may good cheer rule, so mote it be. But I want you to pay attention to the 2 figures that are here. Y'all are linking up with somebody that's going to just maybe change your perspective on something. There is definitely somebody coming into your life in 3 months that's going to shift something for you, because not only did I see it with that alliance, like you're forming a strong alliance with someone. I love it. I apologize if any of these messages came through kind of like everywhere. I feel like I was getting downloads from everywhere, so maybe a lot of you chose pile number 2, but thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget that if you want more content from me, weekly energy updates, extra pick a cards that you can't get here on the channel, a book club. We're going to be opening a Discord very soon that patrons have a special role in. We also do like community nights every month now. There's so much on the Patreon. It really is like a true labor of love. And I love feeling like on the Patreon, we have so much more one-on-one connection, and I love it. So if you want to support me as a creator in the way that I create here, please come and join the Patreon. I genuinely love our community, and I love our community here too, but I feel like it's a lot more close-knit over there. So if you're looking for like a community of like-minded individuals that like we talk and share about the same things that we share here in readings, definitely come and join the Patreon. Community is my focus for the rest of the year. So we're working on getting y'all connected more, and like me and my team, and I'm genuinely so excited. So please come and join the Patreon. I would love to have you there. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, you can only book me at KhloeTaylor.com. That is my website. I will never solicit you for a reading on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I will never go directly to you or DM you. If you ever see something like that, know that it is a scam. There's a lot going on in the spiritual community right now. A lot of people are being scammed by other Instagram users that make like clones of our accounts. So if you ever see accounts like that, just report them and block them, and know that you can only ever book through KhloeTaylor.com. I will never directly reach out to you for a reading unless I'm like, maybe if I did a giveaway on my YouTube channel, but that would be different. So I will never reach out to you like that. If you would like to tip me for my readings, that is also always welcome and appreciated. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. And I also have my wish list for those of you that ask for it. And last but certainly not least, I have a podcast called Divine Authenticity, where I put out new episodes every single Tuesday. It's available on every platform that you listen to podcasts on. We have a great time over there too. We talk about mental health, spirituality. It's literally just me sitting down and chatting. It's one of my favorite projects that I work on, and it's just a good time. So if you need a nice podcast for your morning commute, or just to like feel good and enact some change, like especially those of you that are trying to enact change in your life, I feel like my podcast is good for that. But that is available to you. It is called Divine Authenticity. It's available everywhere. I'm at Kloee Taylor on all major social platforms. So Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can follow me if you would like more. And please do not forget my beautiful pumpkin, that when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye. All right, pile number 3. If you chose this pile, this is going to be your what is going on 3 months from now timeless reading whenever you come across it. And the heart of your reading in 3 months' time is the Hanged One. So the Hanged One is all about basically putting your life on a pause of some sort. And I feel like sometimes we look at the Hanged One and it's like, no, I want to be action oriented. I want to move forward. I want to do this, this, and this. But sometimes you need to kind of hang back a little bit so that things in your life can unfold. And with the Hanged One, this is sometimes about like sacrifice for the future. It's like holding back, it's restricting in order to create long-term success. And so I feel like in 3 months' time, you're going to get very clear on your ideals in finances, in your workload, and your relationships. And I say that because the Ten of Swords to me very much is giving me workload. Like this to me is like workload energy. Like you've maybe been taking on a little bit too much and you feel like you're not necessarily making enough for the amount of work that you've been putting in. And so you're taking a moment or maybe a lengthy amount of time to reconsider in 3 months' time. So this could be whether you are somebody that has a business or you work for somebody else, or maybe you have projects at home that you're doing that don't necessarily constitute a career, but you get some kind of fulfillment out of it. Currency doesn't always have to come in the form of money. And I want to make that very clear that even though this Ace of Coins, yes, this to me would suggest currency, it's whatever kind of energetic currency you are receiving. So whether it is like praise from somebody else that lives in your home, self-fulfillment, something like that. There's something that you don't feel like you're getting enough of. And in 3 months' time, you're going to get very clear on what that is and how you can shift it to make it better. I feel like you've been giving a lot of your time, your soul, your energy into projects. You've taken on a little bit too much. And it doesn't feel worth it. It doesn't feel sustainable. And the reason I brought up your relationships is we do have the Two of Cups and the Three of Cups coming out. So some of you are actually calling in romantic partners. Some of you are calling in a relationship in 3 months' time, or a relationship going to the next step. So maybe you're moving in together. Maybe you're getting engaged. Maybe you're deciding if you want children or not. You know, I also kind of hate that, like, I don't think that has to be the natural progression of relationships. It's what society has given to us, but I don't think that that has to be the natural progression. We can decide what our relationships look like, and maybe they don't look anything like that. Maybe this is you and your partner coming together to decide that you want to add a third person to your relationship. Maybe this is, it's something about your relationship taking a step that seems big though. It also could be that one of you is, you're calling in a relationship where it's just in greater harmony. So this could be love in a romantic sense. It can also be calling in like a new best friend. The Two of Cups does give me harmonious relationship energy though. So it also could be like partnerships that are in alignment with you, be it romantic, friendship, or otherwise. And the Three of Cups, this is being surrounded to celebrate. So whatever this decision is, whether it be that partnership, a love interest, taking another step, in 3 months' time, you are celebrating this. Some of you really are adding a third person to your relationship, going from a 2 to a 3, but some of you also are just celebrating this milestone. You're celebrating something. It could also be that in like business, you're being recognized in some way, and a partnership that is like your dream partnership has come into your lap. So, with that, it's like you are celebrating with people closest to you about it, because the Three of Cups is literally vibing with other people and being celebratory and having like divine support. Oftentimes it's depicted in like a sisterhood, but I think it can also be any kind of friendship, or even surrounded by family members, surrounded by community that is just very lovingly supportive of the things that you're doing and who you are. So honestly, there is a little bit of like, we're really tired of how things have been, but you're actually making really good changes by just slowing down in 3 months' time. Now, we also have for you the card of the Crone, and we also have Thanatos. And these cards, to me, they both signify aging and death. And I don't say that because I think you are literally going to die. I think that the crone, first of all, doesn't always have to mean age. It can mean wisdom, because the crone archetype is all about having like sage wisdom. And sage wisdom is having wisdom, but knowing when and who to share it with. The crone is also often like an outcast member of society. I mean, even if you think about like the media and how older people are treated, especially women, it's like once you hit 45, the world no longer caters to you unless you are like projecting some kind of beauty image. And the crone often is that like female archetype that is cast out of society. There's no place for her. She's crazy, right? And the interesting thing is the crone is the wisest of all. The crone is the one that has the most information that could actually help. And the crone archetype, I feel like, is showing up for you because you're slowing down to ask yourself what is actually your innate truth, because the crone is very strongly linked to their own truth. It's literally about like being in touch with your intuition, being psychic, being wise, clairvoyant, knowing and trusting your magic. And so this for you, you are slowing down to step into this. You're no longer going to be willing to participate in the hustle. And I see this as a very beautiful thing. It's going to bring things into alignment with you that you have been asking and wanting. And then Thanatos, I want to actually read this card to you because I did view it before I started the reading, because I don't know why, but usually I don't look at the cards before I put them out in a reading. But today I sat with every single pile and like really kind of looked things over, meditated. Spirit was giving me some different instruction today. And Thanatos literally is the card of death. So I'm just looking at this from the book that comes with these cards. Links down below, by the way. I always link all of the cards that I use in my readings down below for you. It says, it is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation, but the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos, as it sweeps us under its wing, making us relinquish control in every form. Ooh, I got the chills. It leaves a mark of the ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and will return to the land of the living eventually. With more compassion and wisdom to share, this capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Grieving, mourning, bearing witness to all that is. There are those with a great gift for navigating Thanatos energy. Thankfully, we find those generous souls in emergency rooms, hospitals, hospice centers, and the lake. Oh, and the like. I was like, the lake, what the heck? And it also says, facing Thanatos' death leads us to Althea, the truth. So, ooh, I just got like chills again. This is also about connecting with what your own divine truth is, not the truth that has been projected at you. And this happens, gosh, y'all, this happened to me. I'm just going to share my, not like a big story, just a little story with y'all, because I didn't quite understand this reading until I started to channel it, and now I feel like I get it. So it's not for me to make sense, to be honest. Like, channeling doesn't require, for any of y'all out there wanting to channel from spirit, you don't have to make sense of it to be a channel. If anything, you making sense of it doesn't matter at all. But it's always kind of nice when things come full circle. But this has happened to me in my own life. Many of y'all know I had a background in gaming. We talk about it all the time. I did gaming for 7 years. It was really fun until it wasn't fun anymore. I got invited to huge events with like electronic arts. I was at like what I would consider the top of my field. I was in like a top percentile of the field. And It was in 2017 that I lost my sister to a heroin overdose. And I was already not really in a good place mentally at the time, but her death actually led me to question my entire existence. And I was like, what am I even doing? What is my purpose? Why am I sitting here? And don't get me wrong, if you're into the gaming sphere, more power to you. This isn't me like crapping on anybody's ideals of their goals for themselves. I'm just sharing my story from my experience. To me, I was like, is that the legacy I want to leave behind? If I were to die tomorrow, unfortunately, the way that my sister did, if I were to die tomorrow, which I don't do drugs or anything, it's not like, I'm not saying that I could die like that, but, and that's also not me trying to like cast shame on anybody that is addicted to drugs. I think that drug addiction is something that is not talked about the way it should be in society. And it is like a genuine sickness and it's a coping. Anyway, we don't need to get into all of that. I don't know why I'm stipulating. Just know that if you struggle with addiction, I'm not here to shame you. I support you in your healing journey. And I think we need to stop shaming people that struggle with addiction because it just creates more problems and the people aren't able to get better. So in any case, with this situation, it led me to just question my entire life. I was like, if I died tomorrow, is this what I would want to be giving the world? Is sitting here and playing video games and telling stories and trying to get the most views and trying to be the most catchy and trying to get the most attention on me? Is that how I would want to live my life? Is that the energy I want to put into the world, is just trying to scream the loudest? And for what? Like, for what? And I know that a lot of people connected with my gaming content at the time and maybe saw it differently, but behind the scenes, I was really struggling and I wasn't happy. And it caused me to go through like a full-blown spiritual awakening. I changed everything I was doing. I ended up in the tarot community, in spirituality, as a channel and a psychic. And my path didn't need to make sense to other people. It needed to make sense to me. And I think that ultimately it could be that you yourself have brushed with death in some way, or you have witnessed death in your life to such a degree that it has caused you to reevaluate and to understand your own truth, because that really is the truth of this time-space reality, this life that we are all living is, and I don't say this to like enact fear in anybody, it is just the truth. The only finish line we are all pushing towards is death. Like, I'm not trying to be nihilistic either. That is the only finish line we're all pushing towards. And if you stop and consider that, what do you want your life to be like knowing that information? Like, even if, let's say, we reincarnate or we go on to live as spirits, whatever it is that you believe, this life still held significance and you're experiencing it for some reason. What do you want to co-create? What do you want it to be? What is the legacy, if any, that you want to leave? Is it like, I think there's a great clip by Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks rather, that's like, when people ask you, what are you doing? Being happy. Well, what for? For being happy. Like, maybe it's just being happy and that's what you want to do. So it's stopping to consider, if everything melted away tomorrow, everything that you've been working for, everything that maybe you've been really buried in, is it worth it? Is it worth your mental health? Is it worth you continuing the way that you've been continuing? Or can you take that energy, find support to change it, and do something completely different? I feel like that's really what we're coming into here, is like, it's change. I feel like every reading in the next 3 months is going through some kind of crazy change. We also have Think, literally over the Hanged One. So again, as I was already stating to you, you're going to be doing some really deep thinking in the next 3 months about like big points of your life. Like this to me almost looks like midlife crisis energy. And I'm not trying to scare you. Like, midlife crises, I feel like we treat them like they are terrible, but sometimes they lead us down the best paths. Sometimes we have to veer off for a little bit so we can reconnect with why we're actually here. And then we have Gemini, cross-pollinate. Y'all, some of y'all really are calling in romantic relationships. And then we have 10th house authority. So I think this is also about going against the status quo. The crone also does that, goes against the status quo, goes against the authority that has said life only goes on this one linear projection or trajection. And you are literally looking at this and saying, I don't have to climb your mountain. I can climb my own mountain. And that can be anything I want it to be. Like literally you are doing so much evaluating. And then we have for you the never ending story. I think that this card ultimately is more about the 10 of swords that you have back here. It's like the workload never stops. The chores never stop. The relationships never stop. And you just want things to just be on pause for a moment because it feels overwhelming. And so you've done that. You've put yourself on pause. You're coming back to yourself. You're analyzing. You're deciding. And in those 3 months' time, as you're doing this, it is going to turn out so much better than you expected. But you are going to have to kind of put yourself in a standstill for a little bit. She's even sitting on an hourglass. And there's a heart in here. Some of y'all, there really is something about relationship in here. Maybe you're having conflicting feelings about someone. And that's also like some of you, it's just you're not sure if you want to continue a relationship with someone and you're stopping to consider. Then we have happy, happy. So this is also a reminder that what you're experiencing ultimately is leading to your own soul growth and your own happiness. That is what the purpose of this time period is, that might feel like a little dense, a little chaotic, a little not chaotic. I'm not getting chaos. It's just you're having to make a lot of deep defining decisions for your life based off of some really deep integrated stuff. So it's like doing the shadow work and then having the huge aha moments about your life where you're making decisions that will impact you for the long term. And then we have creativity, which says all above and all below. Let me connect, let creativity flow. And this is sitting here with number 33. This card almost looks like an abduction. Do you see that? There's like this person, there's a big light beaming from the sky. That's kind of crazy. I feel like this is also the energy of like creativity beaming down on you. So from this rest point, if you let yourself truly rest in these next 3 months, like in 3 months' time, you really let yourself rest, you are going to get inspired beyond belief, because I feel like your creativity well has run a little bit dry and you're having a hard time. And Spirit is saying when you actually rest, not sitting down, telling yourself you're resting, but you're still stressing mentally, when you actually deeply let yourself rest and let go, your creative well is going to get replenished. Then we have study. Let my mind be clear and strong. Let me study well and long. So let your mind be clear and strong. I think, again, you're literally studying your life. You're not necessarily studying school or anything like that. You are studying your life and the direction that it's going in. You're getting like very philosophical. And then we have love. Aphrodite, I call to thee to bring a true love here to me. So for some of you, this might be a call if you've been getting other synchronicities to work with Aphrodite. You are on the right person's channel for that. I work with the goddess Aphrodite. She is my only matron and goddess that I work with. And we've been doing work together for many years. Aphrodite is wonderful, but if you're into like deity work, this might just be a call to reach out to that deity. If you've been receiving other signs and synchronicities, the deity often will reach out to you before you even get the idea. So this might just like come as a confirmation for some of you. For others of you, literally, this is you calling in this love, this divine love, this partnership, you have so many things here that are about that. Cross-pollinate, love, and the Two of Cups. Some of y'all really are calling in a new relationship, or your relationship is taking that next step and love is opening up more to you. And it's because you're giving it to yourself that it's opening up more to you. But that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Please do not forget, if you love the content here, be sure to come and check out my Patreon, especially if you want a community of more like-minded individuals. For the rest of this year, my biggest focus in all of the work that I'm doing is creating community. And we are working on getting a Discord up and running. We're doing more community nights in the Patreon. We have a book club now. We do weekly energy updates where I sit down with the tarot cards every single week and I tell you what's coming up for the week. We also have pick-a cards there that you can't get anywhere else. They're only available on the Patreon. And it's just a really nice way to help me as a creator continue to create. Like literally, I hate to put it in like actual terms because I know some of this stuff bothers people when we talk about money, but we need to destigmatize money. Literally, Patreon like helps me pay my rent so that I am able to continue to create in the way that I do. So like genuinely your support goes towards me being able to continue to do what I do. And I think we have a really great community there. So if you would like to participate in more of that, please come and check it out. Link is down below. I also have my website, KloeTaylor.com, which is the only place that you can book a private reading with me. I do put restocks out pretty regularly, but they're usually pretty small restocks because I do readings as I have time slots open to do them. But you can book at KloeTaylor.com. I will never solicit you for a reading. Like I'm never going to DM you on Instagram for a reading. If you ever see that, it's not my account. They usually there are scammers going around. They'll change like one letter or add a period or an underscore to their name. They'll claim that they're a backup account. That's not me. You can only book through my website, KloeTaylor.com, and I will never personally solicit you. If you would like to tip me for my readings, I do have my Cashapp, PayPal, and my Venmo available to you. Links are down below for those. I do not expect tips from you, but it is certainly appreciated. It goes back into the channel. I also have my wish list available to you for those of you that have asked. And last but certainly not least, I do have the podcast Divine Authenticity if you want to discuss or listen to discussions on mental health and spirituality. That's really what my specialty is on my podcast. But really, I just sit down and talk to you about a myriad of topics. All of y'all that asked for magical thinking content, we're probably going to do a podcast on it during fall in July. So definitely make sure you're tuning into the podcast because it always comes out earlier than any videos that I do on the podcast. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And do not forget, my beautiful pumpkins, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. I'll talk to y'all again next time. Bye.